this out. Cheap check with it. Hey, everybody. It is the StewKast, the wrestling podcast. Thank you for joining us. I am Lou Marconi at LMarconi251 on Instagram, at LMarconi1973 on X. My friend, co-host, and hetero partner, Corey Castle at Corey Castle everywhere. Yep, hot tag. We're going to hot tag this. You can check out his stuff on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. It is Evolving with Corey Castle. You can check out mine here. Well, we're here on the Combat Zone Network. We do this show together, but I do with Fanatical Elves Network on the Fans First Sports Network as well. And we do our show on Rumble, which is the Sunday Stew Pot. So feel free to check that show out as well. Corey, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. I want to say to the fans, coming soon to a town near you if you live in the town that I'm coming to.
Yep. He's well-traveled, folks. Very well-traveled. Thank you. Okay, so we're going to go over SmackDown Raw, talk about the Dark Side of the Ring with the original Sheik, and then next week we got Saturday night's main event. We could kind of preview that a little bit, and we're going to review that next week. We're going to be at a special time. We're going to do a holiday show. It's going to be Memorial Day. We're going to come on Monday at 12:35. And also, just to let you know, folks, we're happy to be here. Feel free to comment, share, reach us out with any questions. We're happy to go over this. So let's just kind of leading into Saturday night's main event a little bit too. So did you watch SmackDown last Friday?
I only watched highlights because I started a new job. So
you caught the highlights too.
Yeah,
all right. Yeah. It's the Bloodline and the LA Knight thing.
Yeah, I think, and then Jeff Cobb had his in-ring debut, right?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, JC Mateo now?
Yeah, JC Mateo.
JC Mateo.
Yeah, LA Knight put him over. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. That's something. That's something.
Yeah, LA Knight put you over.
I mean, I didn't watch the match. I really wanted to. How was it?
It was good. I mean, it was a good match. Yeah, LA Knight. I never seen LA Knight have a bad match. So you're in there with LA Knight. It's going to be good. Yeah. One of your favorites was the main event was Tiffany and Jax, Nia Jax. Tiffany successfully defended her women's championship over Nia Jax. Yeah. Actually, they did a pretty cool spot when she was trying to power bomb her off the second rope, and then she fell backwards, and it looks like she did Yokozuna her from that. It was just in the corner. It was just like, wow.
I really, and I've said this to you before, I'll say it again, and I'm sure I'll say it again in the future. The fact that she does the bonsai drop and that's her finish, and they call it the Annihilator or something, is the dumbest thing. I don't know why they don't call it the Bonsaya.
The Bonsaya. They could. You should you should work for creative for them.
Bonsaya Jax.
Bonsaya Jax. There you go. See?
Mm-hmm.
See? Right there.
See? See?
Right, if you watch the Stew Pot, you get that. It's our little thing. Solo Sikoa. He went over Ray Phoenix. And then Drew McIntyre did his promo. I think they're leading up to that cage match against Damian Priest and Saturday night's main event. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know why they're putting Miz in there with black mass, getting black masked all the time.
What you're talking about, Aleister Black?
Aleister Black, but he keeps getting black masked as soon as he comes in the ring. It's just, I'm not sure. And then
it's punishment for the faces that he made during Triple H's Hall of Fame speech.
Yeah.
Remember I said if I was Triple H, I'd punish him for the faces that he made during my Hall of Fame speech.
That's probably his own doing then.
Now he's getting punished. He's getting black masks every week.
Oh yeah, and Alexa Bliss worked on the show too. She went over. I can't remember who she beat. There was a tag match where the Motor City Machine Guns did the run-in after Brie Axiom went over the DIY. What's that?
Fraxium,
yes. And
the jobberiest name for a jobbery team.
Yeah. And then they did something with the Bloodline, and then LA Knight was getting it out. That was at the beginning of the show when LA Knight was fighting with Jacob Fatu and with the Bloodline. So that was it was decent. And then you had the with Raw last night. Did you catch any of it?
Completely missed it all the way.
Oh, well, I made my notes.
Please share your notes with me, dude. I can't believe I lost track of what day it even is.
Today's Tuesday. Well, I'm glad you remembered to be on the show with me. Thank you.
Yeah, I completely lost track.
Well, before we go into Raw, let's pause for a word from our sponsors. Speaking of sponsors, check out Hemisphere Coffee Roasters. Click on the link to the show, and when you do that, tell them Lou sent you when you order your coffee. All right, and let's go ahead and pause for a break from our other sponsors now. All right, thanks for joining us. Thanks for staying with us. All right, here we go.
How about those sponsors, dude?
They're something else.
Products. They sound like really, really beneficial items.
Yeah, there was like
gambling problem. Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Yes, please. Don't call Kenny Rogers. He's dead. Gunther and Logan Paul did a promo, and then Uso like super kicked Logan Paul.
Mm-hmm.
So that happened. He kind of snuck up behind him, and like Logan Paul wouldn't know he's behind him when the whole crowd's going yeet, yeet, yeet. It's just, hey, turn around, dummy. The guy's gonna super kick you. So AJ Styles and Penta put over Baylor and McDonough. Roxanne Perez was over for Money in the Bank, and
qualifier.
Qualifier. Yeah, Roxanne Perez was in there. Rhea Ripley.
Who did she wrestle?
I don't think it was Lynch. No, I don't know who it was. Oh, Lynch and Lyra were fighting on the outside. I was distracted by it. Yeah, I don't have who she went over, but Lyra Valkyria and Becky Lynch were fighting on the outside, which I kind of don't like seeing that because it takes away from the match in the ring, which it did for me. It took my attention away. Right. Sheamus went over. A guy named Waller that I have here. And I don't know who Roxanne Perez beat, but Rhea Ripley went over. She went over for her match. It was something Kyrie or something like that. I can't remember these names. I'm bad with some of these names. I'm horrible with them.
Yeah, I did see that Kyrie Sane came back.
Kyrie Sane. It was Kyrie Sane. I think it was Kyrie Sane. Yeah. Okay. And yep. So that's that. So that was that's lead up to the Money in the Bank qualifier for the ladies. Mm-hmm. So right now Roxanne and Rhea, which that would work. Let me see. Oh, I had here Rollins and Braun Breaker jump Uso, and then Sami Zayn does a run in, and then CM Punk does a run in. So that whole thing happened. That set up the Saturday night's main event, which also Logan Paul lays out Uso. He comes out and he lays out Uso for the show, and that's leading up to Saturday nights. So that's what you got there. So the Saturday night's main event, you got Sami Zayn and CM Punk against Braun Breaker and Seth freaking Rollins. You got the cage match, which is Drew McIntyre against Damian Priest. Mm-hmm. Jey Uso defending against Logan Paul, and I think there's what's the other match? John Cena defending his belt against R-Truth. Those are the matches for Saturday night's main event this Saturday night, 8:00 on Peacock. So we're going to be reviewing that show. Overall, I thought Raw was good. I mean, it wasn't, it wasn't bad, but the booking, when it makes booking sense, I'm like, yeah, okay, I could see that. So, but you didn't see any of it, you said?
I didn't. No, I did. I completely missed it. I mean,
okay, that's fine.
I
feel
thing bad.
I watch things for this show.
I'm on a wrestling podcast. I should have watched it.
At least watch the highlights, get an idea.
I mean, coulda, shoulda, woulda. I'm not going to shoot all over myself.
Please don't. We don't. This is a family show.
For sure. For sure.
Let me ask you this. Did you see the Dark Side of the Ring last week about Ed Farhat?
The Sheik one I didn't see, no.
Okay. Are you familiar with the Sheik?
Very little. Very little. did they have Sabu all over the episode?
Right after he died.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had I had conversations about the Sheik with Kevin Sullivan back in the day, but don't think I've ever seen any of his matches. Don't think I've ever uh, met him ever before.
I never met. Oh no, I never met Ed. No. Now, Rob
But
Van Dam and Sabu, yes, but yeah, Rob.
I think I got the understanding about the episode that and I didn't even talk to anybody who had watched the episode, but I figured this was going to be a big part of it. That like kayfabe in the Sheik's house was very important.
Yes, he lived his gimmick.
Mm-hmm.
He kept the heels on one side and the faces on the other. He also, like whenever there was a dinner party or anything like that, if you called and asked for Ed, he would hang up the phone.
Mm-hmm.
But if you asked for Sheik, he'd answer.
Right.
And he was out in a restaurant, whatever, out about town. He was in his gimmick.
Right.
He had the Lincoln, he had the nice car. Actually, Bobby Heenan told the story a long time ago that he didn't even know his real name because he was in Indianapolis doing something for Dick the Bruiser, and Bobby Heenan took his car to get it washed, and he looked in the glove compartment, saw the registration was registered to Edward Farhat.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he was Lebanese. So was Sabu, and Sabu was his nephew, and he became he was trained by his uncle, and I believe also Rob Van Dam was also trained by the Sheik as well. And that Detroit territory was jumping. It was a hot territory,
Right.
but I didn't know how familiar you were with that.
Well, you have to imagine that they're going to do a Dark Side of the Ring about Sabu now. Like,
oh yeah, that's
no
next
way.
season.
And then they got like show how he got all those scars and stuff. Like, no one's ever talked about that. Like his time in Japan or something. He got all that.
There's could be all kinds. Well, they talked about the one FMW match. You heard about that with the fire, and they were stuck in the ring, and there was fire everywhere. And they I mean, he got all these burns all over his body from it, and it was both him and well, for some reason, like one Japanese wrestler, I can't remember his name, and Ed were stuck in the middle of the ring, and the fire, they got too hot. They didn't realize how hot the fire was going to get,
Right.
and it was that was unbelievably dangerous, and that he almost got killed. He almost got killed in that match.
Was that on the episode?
Yes.
Okay.
They talked about it, and like when he came home, he was wrapped like a mummy. And he was like, when he flew back, he had to fly back. It was like, that was to Detroit.
Right.
It was insane. And I know something else. He rarely did jobs. He rarely put people over because he just didn't want to lose the gimmick. But after doing that for 20 years, it can only go on for so long because sooner or later, you just run out of ideas. You just run out of stuff to do. He put over Bobo Brazil clean.
Right.
And there was the race riots in Detroit. And because of that, Ed did the job, put Bobo over kind of to help heal the city or something. That's what they put that in there. They thought it was a good idea, which, I mean, I'd put over Bobo Brazil in his prime. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing that he didn't, what surprised him or surprised anybody else was that, that doesn't last forever. The money flow and the fame. And, and he didn't save his money. He lavishly spent, like the house that he had, everything. And eventually he had to downsize it. Eventually he had to do that. He had grandchildren that were on the episode as well, and the grandkids were like his one granddaughter was at school, and it was like grandparents' day at school, and he shows up dressed up like the Sheik. And all the parents are looking in like, oh my God, that's him. Like they knew who he was. Yeah. So yeah, Ed knew how to do his gimmick. So that's the guy. Just he's very violent. Him, Abdul the Butcher, Sabu. You know how it works.
Yeah, they had a commitment to kayfabe and to protecting the work of the business.
Yeah.
Like they say, like a good magician doesn't expose the magic business. You know what I mean?
The tricks.
It's like that.
Yeah.
The magician's tricks. They're very very steep in their beliefs that the business shouldn't be exposed, and that that phrase "kayfabe is dead" is something that they railed against in their time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And people, if you're listening to the show for the first time, if you're not sure what kayfabe means, it's just essentially like keeping the business secret and not insulting your audience. Don't ruin it. Don't ruin the illusion for them. Don't ruin the show for them. Like for instance, Corey and I were in a feud and we were wrestling each other. We don't get seen together outside.
Right. Like I have used really good examples before, but now I'm not able to think of them.
Because you're on the spot.
Yeah, because I'm right on the spot. But I'm trying to think, like, if like my gimmick is that I can't read, and then you run into me at the library checking out books, I just broke kayfabe. Yeah, so many other examples I can think of. Like it has to be like you, like for example, they did an angle in ECW. Angle is an inside term for like a storyline, right? So they did an angle in ECW where the Sandman was blinded by Raven.
He didn't leave his house.
He walked around for months in his neighborhood with the blindfold on. He was wearing the sunglasses. He was blind. He didn't go out of his house without having those sunglasses on and showing that this wasn't a work. Can you think of any other examples where people have
$1 Million
really
Man,
gone-
$1 Million Man, Ted
Million Dollar
DiBiase.
Yeah.
Yep,
Mhm.
because they made sure he had to account for the money he had that they gave him,
Right.
but they made sure he flew first class. He had the limousine. He was the $1 Million Man, and he kind of even joked when he heard the idea. Oh yeah, that would be horrible if I had to.
Awful.
Yeah, awful.
Awful.
Oh, that's
Right.
terrible. Yeah. So
Like
$1
the
Million
head, like Al Snow's head, like he would carry that around and actually talk to it out at dinner. So people would automatically believe if they saw him on TV talking to the head, they wouldn't be like, "Oh, this is a complete fake." Like they would be like, "Oh, I saw that guy at the Penrose Diner talking to the head. I saw that guy at the Oregon Diner talking to the head." So like they're so that it's protecting the work of the business.
Mm,
It's a commitment to kayfabe.
right.
Kayfabe commitments
Right.
have a whole web series, a whole chronicle of of people's commitments to kayfabe.
Well, it's run that way forever. Let's see.
Right.
Kayfabe commitments. Think of anybody else. Would you say Undertaker?
Oh yeah, he didn't talk anywhere. He didn't show. He didn't expose that he was a real guy until like after he retired from wrestling.
Yeah, and he was done. And he's done podcasts. Raven Scotty was a great example because he would leave that mystery,
Right.
because he had that mystery, that aura about him, mysterious aura about him. He wanted people to keep that. He didn't want to kill that. Yeah.
He didn't flock around.
No, he did not. I'm trying to think who else might have had the gimmick. I don't know.
Well, you think like the occupational gimmicks that they did, like the goon, that they'd have to show up in hockey gear to
Well,
everywhere they went.
there was a time when guys were wearing masks and
Right.
worked under hood. They showed up to the building with their masks on,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
they
yeah.
left the building with their masks on.
Yeah, I've seen that many times.
Yeah, that's another good example of that.
Right.
So Ed Farhat like kept the kayfabe, and it's something you really don't see today. Not that much anymore. It's just
No,
well,
I,
go ahead.
I've coined the phrase and I've used it many times, and I've asked you to use it too. I'll ask anybody who's watching or listening that they can use this, and credit me if you want to. If you don't, whatevs. But like the lines are so blurred now, like you're not exactly sure what's a work and what's a shoot. So when you're watching something, I coined the phrase gray fade because the lines are so blurred.
Yeah,
So like you can't really understand what's real and what isn't. Um, so gray fabe, gray fabe is a popular word in my vernacular, and for sure, if it comes up where it applies somewhere and you can use it, go ahead, man. It'll feel so good.
hmm
Oh, that like when like Bray Wyatt was the Fiend and stuff, but then he was like posting pictures with his baby online. Like people were going like, what the hell is this? You know?
yeah,
Uh, so it's I think that was when I came up with the phrase where it was like everything is gray fade, everything is gray zone, everything is like blurred lines these
yeah,
days.
yeah. I agree. I agree. It's definitely blurred a lot more now than it used to be. Um, speaking of blurred, it seems like well, since Daphne passed away, it seems like this time's been a blur.
Yeah, yeah.
And tonight's episode is going to be about Daphne.
Hmm.
So we're going to review that next week on Monday, and we're going to review
Did you
the.
spend any time with her ever?
No, no.
I was only ever around her once or twice. But
If I did, it was very very early in her career. If I did,
right.
but rare.
Mhm.
But it was. I guess she was in trouble. You know, she had problems.
Mhm.
Did she self delete? Is that what happened? Is that what
Yeah,
you want to call it? Yeah. Okay. Because we can't say the actual S word on here.
unalived.
She unalived herself. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, I she did not seem depressed in any way. Like she was laughing and having a great time. She was so sweet and nice to be around.
That's
Like
what I
the
heard. I
one or
heard.
two
I mean,
times that I was
people have been
around her.
around her. Yeah, people have been
Mhm.
around her. Just thought she was great. You know, she was
Right.
fun, but deep down, she was struggling. She had problems. So I'm interested in seeing that episode because I mean, it's called Dark Side of the Ring because it's not all happy and fluffy.
Yeah.
Even though the Sheik, his episode, I mean, he lived a long life. He did live a
Mhm.
long life. So check it out. I don't know. We got a comment. Hey, thanks. Good morning, Renee. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate you commenting, sir. Thank you.
Sorry for your loss. I think that has to do with Sabu.
Yeah.
I found out about Sabu's passing through Renee. So thank you for your comment and thank you for
Mhm.
your
Yeah, I can't
back
remember how I found
all
out.
that.
Oh, you know what? I was doing yard work, and then when I came in and looked at my phone, I was like, oh, and that was the same day because this past weekend I had to go to a funeral for a relative, and I found out that same day that a relative died. So,
You know what?
uncle, uncle.
Sabu inspired a lot of yard work in his day.
He certainly did. He certainly did. So, yeah, the gray fabe is still in existence today, and so is kayfabe. I think it does exist. I will say, you want to know an example of kayfabe? When I was feuding for the national title in the NWA with Phil Monahan, we kept kayfabe. We kept it on
Mhm.
social media. We did that, and I remember my wife telling me because her cousin's husband and other people in her family believed that we didn't like each other, that we hated each other, which perfect. That's exactly what I was going for. I said, good. Even my wife's seen that happen. Like when I'm in the ring or I'm working a program with somebody, she's like, you would think they don't like each other, but they're actually good friends. So and I always had better matches with friends than I did people I didn't like. So get to work better. But
yeah, I mean,
all right,
like
cool.
you're more selfless with like when you're working against somebody you don't like, you're like you don't want to make them look good, and then they won't want to make you look good. Like it's like it's more of a collaboration than a
Yeah,
contest.
right. Well, I wanted to say thank you for that. But speaking of being selfless, one of the things that killed the territory in Detroit was that Sheik was a dragon that never was slayed. I mean, he wouldn't lose. And I think what the part that it died was when Andre was in town and Andre was supposed to beat him, and Sheik did the fireball thing and got disqualified. And it was just like, ugh, you know, that was the time to do the job. You put Andre over, and then
J.O.B.
Yep. To do the job was lose the match. It's the time to put the guy over. We got it, but he, that's just the way he was. But anyway, speaking of which, we will see you guys next week. Hemisphere Coffee Roasters. Click on the link of the show. Check out Corey at Evolving with Corey Castle, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Yeah, 1-800-GAMBLER with the gambling problem. Why are we doing that?
I don't know.
I just like, yeah, where did that come from? So
I think every podcast does it. So let's just join
gambling problem. Call 1-800-GAMBLER. You got to know when to hold them. You got to know when to fold them. You got to know when to walk away and know when.
That's how I feel about laundry too. You got to know when to fold them.
Yes, that's true.
And when to hang them up. And when to hang them up and when to fold them, you got to know.
Absolutely. So, all right. Thank you guys for joining us. We'll be back next week on Monday. Special show. Thank you. You guys have a great day. Hey, Dan. Yo. Hot